Hi guys, it's Scrivo here, doing the Grotmas Detachment for today. We have been given the lovely Librarius Conclave, which is for the Space Marines. So this is for the non kind of divergent chapters. So this is for your kind of anyone not playing as Dark Angels, Blood Angels, blah blah blah. But it does work with them as well. So this is all themed around chapters librarians, them going and dealing with demonic invasions and machinations of Xenos psychers. So it's very exciting. Right, let's get straight into it then. The detachment rule itself is psychic disciplines. So at the start of each battle round, so not your turn, battle round, you pick select one of the following psychic disciplines. Until the end of the battle round, that psychic discipline is active and its effects apply to all Adeptus Astartes psychers. So that's all your librarians from your army. Obviously, that then triggers on. So you've got Terminate librarians, you've got normal librarians, and then you've got your Phobos librarians. And then there is some named character ones. There's Ezekiel for the Dark Angels and Chief Librarian Tigerius for the Ultramarines as well. So you've got some choice there. And basically, you pick one of the disciplines to be effective, and all of its effects apply to your those units in your army. Obviously, if they're leading a unit, they are Adeptus Astartes Psyker units. So Biomancy discipline is add 2 to the movement characteristic of models in this unit. Divination discipline is each time a model in a unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1. So a good way of getting around having to only go into your oath target. The pyromancy discipline is each time a range attack is made by a model in this unit, the target an enemy unit within 12, improve the AP of a characteristic of the attack by 1. So nice and aggressive. And then we've got the telekinesis discipline, which is each time a range attack targets this unit, -1 from strength characteristic of that attack. Obviously, it's very specific sort of situations, but it could make a difference, especially if because all of your librarian units are realistically going to be T4, T5 if they're Terminators, so a bit more fringe, but I'm sure it'll be useful at some points. And then we've got finally the telepathy discipline. Each time a modern unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers of that weapon of the attack's weapon skills or ballistic skill characteristics, or any and all modifiers to the hit roll. So essentially, it means you can avoid stealth, or if their faction detachment gives them an equivalency, so like the Vanguard Space Marines, it gets around that. So it's a nice little toolkit where you've got all these different options. It doesn't say you select them only once. So this is interesting. So you could just take the same one each turn, because it just says select it, and until the end of the battle round, it doesn't say that they're only selected once, which I think is quite telling. Like, unlike doctrines, which explicitly state they get used only once. Right, so now let's look at the enhancements. So this is interesting. So the first one is Prescience, which is for 25 points. It's an Adeptus Astartes Psyker, excluding Terminate models. Once per turn, when an enemy does a normal move, advance, or fall back within 9 of the bearer's unit, the bearer's unit can make a normal move up to D6 or up to 6 if they're in the divination discipline. So that's interesting, right? And then Celerity is for 30 points. It's an Adeptus Psyker. The bearer's unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. And if the Biomancy discipline is active for your army, it is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which it fell back. So it's very much got, here's a reward, and here's a benefit on top of that reward if you're in the right discipline. So it's about lining things up. So you've probably got a plan in how you're going to run your army, utilizing the enhancements timed into which discipline you're going to lock yourself into a lot of the time. And then we've got the next one, which is Obfuscation, which is 20 points, and it is, again, a Psycho model. Enemy units cannot use Fire Overwatch stratagem to shoot at the bearer's unit, and if you're in the Telepathy discipline, so that was the one that's the -1 strength to their range attacks that target the unit, you cannot be the target of range attacks unless they are within 18. So it gives you like a mini lone op equivalency, just on top of not being able to be overwatched. So this is quite useful if you've got a unit you're just trying to get in. So so it's just a good way of giving yourself low up, which is never to be questioned. So, and then Fusillade for 15 points. It is a Adeptus Astartes Psycho model. Range weapons of the unit have anti-monster 5-up and anti-vehicle 5-up. And the sustained hits 1 ability if the pyromancy discipline is active, and you add 6 inches to the range characteristic of the weapons if they're in the telekinesis discipline. So there's a lot of different ways you can kind of make your units do things, which I think is quite exciting. It's not the most kind of innovative in a design space because it is essentially psychic doctrines, but I'm excited to try it. I've got a friend, Sean, who just loves taking lots of librarians, so I'm sure I'll see him do this. So let's go through some strats. So the first one is Sensory Assault. For 1 CP in the command phase, you pick one of your Astartes Psycho units from your army. You select one enemy unit with an 18 and visible to 1 Psycho model in your unit. Until the start of your next turn, that enemy is pinned. While a unit is pinned, subtract 2 from their unit's move characteristic and subtract 2 from the charge rolls made for it. In addition, if the telepathy discipline is active for your army, that enemy unit must take a battle shock test at a -1. So this is a really handy little utility thing where if they've got like a big hammer unit they're going to be trying to fling forward at you, you just make it tough for them. Granted, just that you can see them, so if they've got some shooting, they'll probably just try to deal with it, but I still think it's quite neat. And then we've got, for 1 CP, Iron Arm. This is in the fight phase. 1 Astartes infantry unit from your army that is within 18 of 1 or more of your Psycho models in your army and has not been selected to fight. This just gives you add 1 to the strength characteristic of your melee weapons and add 2 if the biomancy discipline is active. So again, you get a basic thing and then you get some extra if you're on the right discipline. So there's a lot of planning, I think, around these. And then we've got Armor Contempt, which is, let's just check. They have not rephrased it yet, but this is now been corrected so that it is basically until a unit's shooting has been resolved, you worsen their AP by 1. So it's no longer your entire unit for the phase just shrugs off AP no matter what shooting at it. It's just 1 target doing it to you. So that's a big change. And then we've got Assail for 1 CP. In your shooting phase, 1 of your Psycho units that is eligible to shoot. You select 1 enemy unit with an 18 and visible to 1 or more Psycho units, excluding units with a lone operative ability, and you roll 6d6, adding 1 for each result if the telekinesis discipline is active for your army. For each 4-up, so 3-ups if you're in the telekinesis discipline, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. So this is, imagine you're quite close to a unit, you fling a grenade at them, well, one of these psychic assail grenades, and then you throw a grenade at them as well. Like, yes, it's expensive, but if it's something that you're really going to struggle to get through to, but it doesn't like mortal wounds, probably quite neat. I'm not sure you'd use both, but I think it's kind of neat that you can. Right, and then we've got Fiery Shield for 1 CP. It's in the fight phase. Just after an enemy unit has selected one of its targets, you pick an infantry or mounted unit from your army that is within 18 of 1 or more of your psychers and was selected as one of the targets of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time the attacking targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit rolls, and if the pyromancy discipline is active for your army, the weapons that target your unit have the hazardous ability. So I really like this. This is, rather than just a straight debuff, it's actually quite aggressive. So if your opponent is rolling a lot of attacks at you, and you make it so their weapons are hazardous, suddenly they don't want to be hitting you. If they know you can do that, are they going to charge you? Are they going to try to hit you with combat? Probably not. But interesting. I'm not sure how often you'll see it played, but it's still pretty cool, right? And that's quite different. I don't think I've seen a strat that offers forcing hazardous on your opponent. And then we got Prescient Precision. This is for 1 CP in your shooting phase. 1 Psycho unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, that attack has lethal hits and has the Ignore Cover ability if you're in the Divination discipline is active for your army. So a lot of these, there's a cool thing and then the next layer. So I think I can't see Space Marine players going, right, I'm not taking Gladius, I'm not going and taking Vanguard because I want to play that sort of style. But I feel it gives you another option. And there really wasn't a kind of psycho heavy kind of angle to it. So it's interesting. I don't think it's going to be taking out GTs. I might be wrong, but it's very interesting. And I really can't wait to see it on the tabletop because it just looks layers of tricksy stuff, and who doesn't want people's stuff being on fire because they're attacking you in combat? That looks great, and this feels like a great home to put someone like Ezekiel in. So cool, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you really like it, you can become a YouTube member. It really does help us. Until next time,